Please like, subscribe, and share. Your likes and shares can help us take Athenium and Northeast to the world. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay connected on Facebook for regular content.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Athenium. And today we have on our discussion agenda a very, very important issue about the living root bridges from Meghalaya. Now, as it is known that the dense jungles of Khasi and Jaintia hills in Meghalaya are home to unique bridges that are known as living root bridges that seemingly last forever. These bridges are created by weaving and manipulating the roots of the rubber tree Ficus elasticea, and these living root bridges have for centuries sustained the War Khasi tribal community living on the southern slopes of the hills bordering Bangladesh. Over the past decades, these mystical living root bridges, created by weaving and manipulating the roots of the rubber tree, have become a symbolic representation of Meghalaya and have attracted several tourists from all over the world to this part of the globe. But what is important that Athenium feels and our guest today feels is that these root bridges conceived by the Khasi ancestors centuries ago should not be reduced merely to a tourist attraction. And thus, to give us a nuanced understanding about the living root bridges, the history and the science behind it, today we have with us a very dear friend, Mr. MorningStar Khongthaw, founder of the Living Rootbridge Foundation. He is a resident of the Rangtilyang village in Penursla district of East Khasi Hill district, Meghalaya. Mr. Khongthaw is also the recipient of the Environment Champion Award 2021 presented to him by the Rotary Club of Shillong. He is also the recipient of the Dalmia Cement Bharat Limited Young Achievers Award for his contribution towards ecology and environment. We thank Mr. Khongthaw for joining us today. Welcome to Athenium.
Yeah, thank you so much for for inviting me, and I'm glad to be a part of this session. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Khongthaw, first we would like to know a little bit about yourself, your village, and where you come from.
I'm from Meghalaya, so I live in this village called Rangtilyang, which is 50 kilometers from Shillong. So I belong to Livingroot community in the Khasi Hills. So I was called by Meghalaya government as a Meghalayan boy, a school dropout student. So I've been working for protecting these bridges for 6 years now. So it's been my journey and my passion to discover the roots that my ancestors have built us. And I'm working hard for this. Yeah.
I like the point that you bring that the ancestors, the Khasi ancestors of that area have built these bridges. So, Mr. Khongthaw, can you tell us a little bit about how old these bridges are and what was the history or what was the necessity for the ancestors to build such a bridge? So, I want to understand what was the idea behind building these bridges and how old are these bridges?
The invention of this bridge. So the idea behind this is about safety, because we're living in the very just close to Bangladesh, and we are hilly people, and we traveled through these valleys and hills, terrains, very rough, slight feet, and then we were just washed by water. So our elders invent this beautiful idea that they connect the roots just for safety, and ultimately after a few decades they can become stronger, and then they can hold our weight and they can hold also our things what we carry in the back. That's a short basic information, basic point of how the bridges come out to our community. And most of these bridges are more than 100 years. What I have in my village, we have bridges like 600 years. And we just lost 3 years back the 800 years old ficus tree. As we are building now a bamboo bridge so that we can revive the new young bridge produced from that very old ficus tree.
That's a very valid and very important point that you make, Mr. Khongthaw, that this were built for safety. These were built for daily use of the people who live in such difficult terrains. And one must say that our ancestors were very, very intelligent people who could create something from nature, right? So you have started this task of preserving the root bridge. So I want to understand that when did this come to your mind that these root bridges need to be preserved, right? It is all in nature. So how did this idea of preservation come to your mind? And when did you start your foundation?
Interesting questions. So what I did at the very beginning is that I work as a local guide in my village because I want to promote my village as one of the most attracted spot where we have these bridges. And suddenly, 2014, that I met one of my friends from America. He come to explore these bridges, and through him, we get a chance to explore more bridges. And I found that we have different kinds of these bridges. We have different kinds of architecture that our elders designed from these roots.
Yeah.
And it's still have in my heart that when I was 6 years old, my dad carried me on his back when we crossed together a very tiny single roots, and I started crying, and that's the memory that is still in my heart, and it still survives, and it keeps me in my mind that I should start something to protect these roots. And the very beginning is that I've been interested in these structures because I met so many of these elders who are dying to share the knowledge with the young boys and girls in the village, but they didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
And I'm very lucky that I met a guy who come and explore these bridges, and these bridges are us. It's in my village. Why should I just leave this like this to be destroyed?
Yeah.
So I'm starting a campaign in 2016 called the Livingbridge Initiative, where I traveled from my village to other villages to meet the elders and understanding about their contribution in these structures and what their views about the future. So once I had a chance to talk to them, the reply was say that the bridges are dying. Nobody is thinking about our bridge. So many of our community will focus on the new modern stylish architecture, what they call the concrete bridges, the cable bridge, which can't last long, like what our elders invent. This is very beautiful knowledge and very important. And through this Living Bridge initiative in 2016, we expand. I started a campaign called Living Bridge Campaign, where we demonstrate the 3 words. We will preserve, we will protect, and we will multiply our living root bridges. So note that not only bridges that we build from the root of this ficus tree, we also build ladders, tunnels, swings, etc. So different kinds of according to our needs.
I like the 3 words that you just said: preserve, protect, and build. And build.
Multiply.
And multiply. Yes. So, Mr. Khongthaw, in this journey of preserving, protecting, and building, what are some of the challenges? Because one thing you said that the elders some of them are very old, so they are dying, so the knowledge is missing. Other than that challenge, what are some of the challenges that you have faced, and you want the people to know and understand and take and help in the journey to go forward?
We face a lot of challenges, and especially going back to the grassroots level, where these young boys now at a very young age, they have started using mobile phone, and they don't have time to go out the jungle, and they will just play in video games. PUBG is very famous and educate people.
Yeah.
So we have students. We took students from city, from colleges to the jungle to repair the bridges. So these students, it's hard for them to understand, because they are mostly in their hands will be in papers, in pen. So when they crawl in the bridge, also, some of them are scared of height. So it will take time. But for the local youths in the village, we just need to guide them, to make them understand that this is your bridge. You have to take care. If you don't take care, this bridge is dying, and it'll just be on your memory. And your grandfather, your granddaddy they will sad. In these 2 years, we lost two these great elders who have been recognized by our foundation as the engineer and architect of these structures. So we lost them. So we don't want this kind of things to happen. We need to encourage more people to come in this project, and bring them to the field, build new bridges, plant more ficus trees. So the thing is that one part of the challenges is that working on these routes, nobody is paying you. You have to do it for free.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing they will ask. Hey, if I come to work with you, will I get something in return? And how will I get paid? Because I'm doing it through my passion. I'm doing it from my heart to protect these bridges. Not like others who just go like belasting in Khasi, or daily wage. They work in the morning and night. They will get some payment. So these are the difficult points that we have to give answer to this our friend in the village. So out of 100%, we'll just have 20% who will understand, who will go deep with us, and who have passions about their future, who are like environmentalists, who understand, who need to take care about nature. So it's been a very tough challenge, but we will sort it out. And through the recognition of everyone, now it's come like a boom that people start realizing that this is very important. The first lesson that I taught about these young boys, I took them as a local guide. So people come to explore the bridges. So if they don't take care of bridges, nobody is coming to visit the village, and they won't get tips, to be a guide. So this is the main key, that we start mobilizing youth to work on this bridge. Yeah.
Mr. Khongthaw, I am glad that you pointed this out, that mobilizing the youth who can actually conserve and protect and build becomes very, very critical. And I'm hoping that through our platform also, your message is loud and clear. And, like you said, we need environmentalists and conservationists and motivated people like you. So, Mr. Khongthaw, how many do you have membership in your foundation, or what is the role of your foundation in this entire process?
Our foundation has been established in 2018, 20 July. So through our foundation, we have 18 members. So these are young, dedicated youth to work for the future, to work for the environment, to work for protecting their traditional knowledge of their ancestors. So there are different parts of Meghalaya, from Garo Hills, from Janta Hills, from Khas Hills, And our foundation is the only foundation in Meghalaya working for conservation of these bridges in Meghalaya.
Yeah.
So what we do is we have this a special group in each village, a special committee, where the committee will do some maintenance for the bridge. Mm-hmm. So we're working now to create an alternative conservation initiative where we can create some kind of livelihood part of the things that we just do voluntary. So we're working on that, and I hope we can make it success soon. So in Garo Hills, we have just started. So they have from ficus tree, and they want us to build a bridge there. So, but it will take time because of the COVID lockdown and all, COVID restriction. So, yeah.
Mr. Khongthaw, because you said that you're also taking up projects to build new bridges. So I am inquisitive that if when you start building a new bridge, or weaving and manipulating the roots, how much
Yeah.
time does it take for you and your team to build a new bridge? And how many years does it take for the bridge to become strong enough for people to use it?
So, according to the traditional knowledge of our elders,
Yeah.
so it will take like 30, 40 years to become the first stage of the functional so-called Livingrootbridge.
Right.
So currently we have working on 7 bamboo bridges in a few villages, where we are building a bamboo bridge that connect between rivers, where the local people need to get their products to the other side of the river.
Yeah.
7 of this bamboo bridge has been completed. So we are working on training the roots. We just guide them, and we're expecting that after 25 or 30 years, they become stronger. But that also, it depends on the size of the river, how, the length, the gap between the two sides of the river. We have to make sure that if it's narrow, if it's small, if it's short, so it will become stronger in like fast. But if the river is too wide, it will take a lot of time. So it depends, like 60, 70 years. So sometimes some of our members or elders, they weren't able to see the bridge that they built.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they're very happy that they contribute something for the future.
Yes, I think from the elders and now you and your team, I think you are contributing to building the future, protecting the nature, because I think with climate change and all of that,
Yes.
protecting the nature has become very, very important. Mr.
Yeah,
Khongthaw,
yeah.
another important thing that I want to ask is, because you mentioned that this is a traditional knowledge, this is, the information will go away when the elders are no more. So, are you in a process of doing any kind of documentation, a concrete documentation of this knowledge system?
Yes, it's just started. We have been working on writing documents where we sat with elders and we get all the story about these bridges.
Yeah.
So in terms of the myths and legends, and we are designing the, how the bridges come to our jungle. So we are going deep now. So we are collecting all these elders, like 80 years old, 90 years old, to get stories about how, the story behind the existence of these bridges. So it's good that we have elders who by themselves plant a ficus tree and build the first roots. So through them, we can get the better knowledge. So as you know, like bridges in a community, like we have this system of oral tradition. So it's hard to choose one elder, because sometimes, when they feel excited, they might exaggerate. So we have to select all of them in a group and investigate one by one. So before of this second wave of COVID, we had 2 workshops that we organized. So we have 20 elders as for now, who are working on to throw out their information from their heart to the paper. So it's still in the process, but yeah, let's see. It will take a few years to come out in a piece of paper. Yeah.
Yes, I think I think the beauty also and the challenge also with oral narratives, that it's difficult to put everything in a document. So it's a challenge, but I think it's also the beauty, because I think that has helped the root bridges to live on. And I'm hoping that with
Yes.
your work and the contribution of our your team members and back people in the village, we will be able to carry forward this tradition. I think
Yes.
one question that I want to ask, and I think everybody else will be inquisitive, that is it specifically this rubber tree that can be used to build these bridges? Or let's say if somebody wants to build a bridge using your help somewhere else. So is it only the rubber tree, or we can use any other big tree as well? I think we want to know that.
Yeah. So far in our Meghalaya, we have a few kinds of ficus where we can do something with the roots.
Okay.
So commonly they call banyan tree. So if
Yes.
you have a tree, a ficus tree, you have roots, why not try something? You just tie it like you tie in your shoes, right? You just do like that also and see how it works. After a few months, you will see the roots will combine together. They will become one out of two. So it's important that we just need to understand and check if the tree produce roots or not, and if the tree produce latex or not, that white fluid coming from the tree.
Yeah.
If they have those two things, then finish. You just go ahead. Yeah, you should try once if you have in the garden.
You make it sound so simple, as if I can start building a bridge tomorrow
Why
itself.
not?
But
You should
I
start.
think I have to come back to Rangtilyang to work with you to build one. Try building a
Yes.
bridge, maybe.
Yeah, yeah. I'm working now to set up a learning center for these
Yeah.
structures.
Hmm.
So the elders who they will be a professor lecturer in the jungle school. So it will open next year. So it is called the Center of Knowledge for Living Architecture.
Oh, that's very nice. Would you like to elaborate further how you plan to run the center? Or what is it that you will teach here exactly?
Okay, so I'll tell you a bit of the beginning of the story, how it comes
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
start a center here. So there was a 600-year-old ficus tree, which is very big. They called Avatar tree,
Okay.
where in 2018, people wanted to chop off this tree just for
Okay.
charcoal making money business. So I want to stop this because I'm working for conservation of these structures. So why should I allow this to happen in my village? So
Yeah.
the whole of my conservation will just thumbs down. So I met the person who owned this ficus tree, and we start talking, and he told me that people asked me to get permission for chopping out of this tree because it produces good charcoal, especially for smokers. So I
Mhm.
told him, sir, with due respect, please don't allow people to chop the tree. It's been featured in big social media, in various photograph with all my friends who already visit this tree. So let's keep it like that. And if you can't take care of this tree, give it to me. So he just replied that I'm 80 plus. I couldn't able to go down and maintain this bridge and look at this tree. So I'll give it to you. So thank God I made a record. I'm the youngest man to own the 600 old tree with an avatar tree name. So I want this tree to set an example that I save this tree and let this tree be uh, a place where people will learn the imparting knowledge about conservation, about the architecture, about environment, and we are working on that. And happily, some of my friends from international, they are sending their contributions to set up a hut on top of a tree where we can call people to sit on top of a tree where we can do some interaction, do some session, and it'll be the first learning center about the root bridges in Meghalaya, in India, in the world.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward. You should come and visit that.
Yeah. I think I have to quickly make a trip back home to come and see the all your center and all your work. Mr. Khongthaw, I want to now understand what would be your message, because we understand that we are talking about century old knowledge, which is very important to preserve, and especially in this age of climate change and so much of environmental loss, we understand the importance of conservation. And then this is also a traditional knowledge of the people back in Meghalaya. So we understand that, but because as a person who is in the field, trying to actually preserve and conserve all of this knowledge, document it also, what is your message to not only the people of Meghalaya, but to also the others who are inquisitive about Livingrootbridge, but who may want to, understand further and understand the importance of it's a heritage, basically. So what would be your message to those people?
The first thing I would say that living bridges should be promoted, should be protected. And the elders who've been preserving for hundreds of years should be recognized so that the knowledge will survive, the bridge will survive, and the nature will survive. And the most important thing now that most of us are thinking about climate change, environment, the weather changes, the global warming. We are proud as a community that we have this beautiful application to contribute to the world in protecting the earth, in making green, in reviving the nature forests, And this is LivingRoots is one of the best applications that we can introduce. So, because especially in terms of the water conservation, the soil water conservation, the ficus tree plays a very important role. A single tree can make a forest. It survive. It support life to plants, animals, human beings. So it's full the ecosystem. So yes, that's are the a few words that I would like to share to my friends. And if you haven't heard about bridges, if you haven't seen about bridges, please do come and visit bridges and come and learn. Not just come and see for a selfie, come and learn and sit with the elders and get to know more about the importance, the uniqueness of our bridges. So thank you for that.
I think this is a common message that Athenium carries along with Mr. Khongthaw that yes, do come and visit Meghalaya to see the beautiful bridges, but it is not just a tourist spot. It is a heritage. It is a place filled with knowledge and a lot of warmth and love that the elders of the community have for people who want to come and learn. And it is important in this day and age that, like Mr. Khongthaw mentioned, that there is so much of love for digital gadgets, phone, that we are not paying attention to our roots, our natural resources, our knowledge system. And if we do not concentrate on the root bridges, I think we are going to regret it in the future. And I think through Athenium and through this discussion today, we sent out a message that the root bridges are also our roots. They hold us back to our community, to our tradition, and together under the leadership of Mr. Khongthaw and the elders of the Rangthiliang village and other villages of that area, we all need to understand the importance and then put the slogan together that preserve, protect, and build,
multiply.
And then multiply, and also learn. I think that is pretty important. So on behalf of Athenium, I thank Mr. Khongthaw for joining us today. And we also send our regards through you to the elders and also pay our homage to the ancestors, the Khasi ancestors who have left not only for Meghalaya, but for every one of us, such an important bundle of knowledge, such an important bundle of heritage. And we hope that Athenium can play a small role by taking this message forward and looking forward to seeing the root bridges and the knowledge being preserved and held together for a long, long time to come. So thank you, Mr. Khongthaw, for joining us today. And it was indeed good talking to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
If you liked our video and you wish to continue watching it, please like, share, and subscribe Athenium.